All right. Good evening, everybody. Greg Pruitt here with the Idaho Dispatch. I am going to try and make sure we are live before I get going too quickly on stuff. Looks like we are live on at least X and hopefully everywhere else as well. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. This is a really short, hopefully short election show. We are really excited to bring you guys some exit results, which, by the way, we are. Um, we want to make sure that everybody understands an exit poll. Sometimes they're accurate and sometimes they are way off. Okay, we did not do ours scientifically, so to speak, if you want to call it that. It was just like, hey, I got some people across the state to go out and do some exit polling, myself included, and we just wanted to kind of get an idea of what we could find. So we did try to get some more conservative precincts. We tried to get some more liberal precincts. We tried to just go out and talk to as many people as we could in the short amount of time that we have. Keep in mind, this is election day exit polling that we have done. And no one, I repeat, no one should not vote because of anything you see in an exit poll ever, whether that's our exit polling, which again was not weighted scientifically, any of that kind of stuff. You should not do any of that. Okay. You should absolutely go and vote regardless of what you ever see on an exit poll. And by the way, polls have now closed, I believe, in Indiana and Kentucky. Those are the first two states for complete closures. There was some, I think, polling in those states that had closed previously. So we're not going to get too much in the presidential stuff right now. I want to jump into the exit polling results that we have. And again, keep in mind, we did a sample of 207 people. That was the total sample. And we hit up, I did a precinct in Jefferson County. I did a precinct in Bonneville County. And then we had somebody did a precinct in Elmore County or a couple precincts. We did, I believe, 3 in Ada County, 1 in Canyon County, and 1 in Kootenai County. So again, you may go, well, hey, wait a minute, you need to have this many. Again, this was not meant or intended to be a full-blown scientific exit poll. It was just some great volunteers. I really appreciate all the guys and gals who went out and helped us today. You guys are fantastic. We just got as many as we could. We tried to get a minimum of 20 from each location. Okay, so you know some we got a lot more, and I'll break down the numbers here in just a minute. Okay, here was the results of our exit poll here. And by the way, if you guys don't mind giving us some support, idodispatch.com/support. Lots of work, a lot has gone into today and everything, all the other stuff that we do. So please be sure to go out and support us and financially, if you don't mind. Okay, so starting at the top, 207 total people were polled, 45% male, 53% female. You'll notice some of that doesn't add up. Well, if they didn't mark it, and this was all anonymous, okay, an exit poll is here, check all of these boxes. And if somebody doesn't check a box, then we don't just make it up. And we don't see necessarily when they're folding it up that they haven't answered a particular question. So 45% male, 53% female. That I think that's fairly close to how the breakdown is across the state. There was a higher female turnout typically. When it comes to voters that we talked to, Republican Party, 67% of the people were Republican, 12% were Democrat, 17% were unaffiliated, and then there were some third parties, a few third parties, and then also some people that did not mark a particular box. If this would be a little bit higher, I think, than what is normal. The Democrat should be maybe a little bit higher, and the unaffiliated would be a little bit higher as well, typically. And these libertarian and constitution parties here, those are actually less than 1%. I should have probably clarified that, but you get the picture. Okay, President Trump won the presidential poll 69%. To Harris's 26%, and then everybody else made up the rest of it. RFK got the most next votes after that, but it was not too many. Now, President Trump, I believe, won in 2020 and 2016 with just over 60% each time, if I remember correctly. So if he got 69, that would be significantly higher actually than he normally gets. We have heard a lot of results coming in and people saying there's lots of new registrations. Not sure which party those are. Republicans have turned out massively in early voting, like a huge turnout in early voting for Republicans. So, um, yeah, we'll see if that ends up holding. Okay, Prop One. This is the one that everybody in Idaho is curious about. Again, please understand this is not necessarily indicative of how the actual final vote will go. It's 207 people in various precincts across the state. Um, it could be accurate. It could be way off. If you remember when Idaho Dispatch did our polling, the no vote was up by 5.8% with a plus or minus margin of 4.9%. So you could say the Prop 1 would potentially lose by 10.8% in the margin. The other thing you have to keep in mind is when we did our polling, they made it clear that the pollster made it clear that the more Republicans found out about Prop 1, they did not like it. The more the Democrats found out and independents found out, they liked it more. And you can see there, at least on the blanks, we have 14% that left it blank. Um, so that's kind of a large chunk of people. And ours, I think there was 15% that were undecided. And the pollster told us that if somebody is undecided about a ballot initiative, they typically will leave it blank. And so, I don't know what that means in terms of the amendment and of Prop One. I do know that the advertising did not start until really, really, really late. I don't know if that was by design. I don't know if the pro Prop One folks got some internal polling, and even the people that were opposed. A lot of the advertising did not start until October, late September and October. So I don't know exactly how this will break down. Again, this could be accurate. This could be way off. That's why I said, whether you support Prop 1 or oppose Prop 1 or the constitutional amendment, just go out and vote. The constitutional amendment is squeaking out ahead right now, at least in the exit poll, at 53%. 28% say no, and then there was nearly 20% that just left it blank. Again, if there was almost no advertising on the constitutional amendment. I heard very little, saw very little on the constitutional amendment, and it's hard to say if the amendment or the Prop One and the confusion over maybe Prop One caused people to leave the amendment blank as well. I'm not really sure. We don't know. We didn't sit there and ask people. It was just, hey, fill this out, mark the boxes, and drop it in the voting box that we had at the various locations. And then the top issues, economy and immigration were by far the top two issues that most people had marked. Abortion was probably the third largest, and it wasn't. We didn't clarify whether you were for or against abortion. It was just the abortion issue. Was that the main driving force for you getting out and talking to people? So I'm going to turn this off here in a sec. We'll share this on all the socials once I am done with the stream. But again, Trump was expected to win Idaho. He will probably win Idaho here in a little bit. It looks like, I think, by the way, they've called Kentucky, Fox News, at least it's called Kentucky and Indiana for Trump, and Vermont for Harris. Anyway, but Prop 1 will be the big one. Again, this could be accurate. It could be way off. Exit polls, again, have historically just been all over the map. You never really know what you're going to get with those. So let me break down just a little bit so you guys can have some clarification on numbers. So I went to Idaho Falls to the library, which, by the way, doing exit polling was not the greatest location necessarily, or maybe it was just the library I went to because it's a more bluer district for this area down here. But a lot of people were going to the actual library, and so I had to compete with like, hey, were you at the library? Or were you voting? Because they were all going in and out the same exit. So that was a little bit rough, and I ran out of time. But I got 21 from there. I got 28 from Jefferson County in a pretty red precinct in Jefferson County. We got 39 from Elmore County, which is up in the Mountain Home area. We got 20 from Kootenai County, 20 from a precinct or a couple, and I'm saying a precinct, a voting location in Eagle, 20 from a voting location in Meridian, and 19 from a voting location in Boise. Those are the three Boise areas that Ada County places that we hit up, and then we had 40 from Canyon County. So again, we were just trying to get as many as possible. Is it weighted all properly and all that kind of stuff by the area of the state and all that? No, it's not. That's why I said again, some fun data, some really interesting data, but it's 207 people from an exit poll. You should take it with a grain of salt. If I had enough time and I thought about it ahead of time, I may have tried to find like you know certain amount of people per county, and then tried to weight like how many people we wanted to get in each county. I mean, it would take it was an undertaking just trying to get the volunteers that we had to um, go do this exit polling right here. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Let me go check real quick. Let me see if there's anything else that was I wanted to. Yeah, the Shiva. So on the presidential stuff, Shiva got one. Claudia De La Cruz got one. Oliver Chase got one. And then there was a number of people that did not select a political party or a gender. Um, Anybody that didn't put yes or no on the amendment and Prop One, we put as left blank. And most of them marked left blank. I think there was one guy that like didn't literally mark our thing at all. So let me see if there's any comments. If you guys have any comments, by the way, I'm looking in the chats real quick. Good evening, Tony. Good to see you. Good evening, David. Thank you guys for tuning in. For those of you that don't know, we will be doing our main live stream show at 9 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. If you don't know, if you're new to Idaho, Idaho has two time zones north up by Riggins. There's a bridge. You go through Riggins, you cross a bridge on 95, and then turns to Pacific Time. Pacific Time is 9 o'clock, right? So in Idaho, you do not see results until after, you won't see results until after 9 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. Okay. And typically what happens in Idaho is you'll get, sorry, I'm trying to turn something back on here. Again, if you guys appreciate all the work that we're trying to do, go to Idaho Dispatch. You can donate if you're already a subscriber, or become a subscriber and donate, whatever you want to do. At 9 o'clock, a lot of the early voting will start getting posted from around the state by various counties. The turnout was massive. So I don't know, it may be a delayed early voting release than we're used to because of how massive. I mean, it was seriously massive. Somebody asked me, did you hand them something to fill out, or were these verbal interview? No, we had, I don't have any here. We had pieces of paper, and it just had each of those things on there: your party affiliation, your gender, who you voted for president, what you did on Prop 1, what you did on the constitutional amendment, and then what were your top issues. Those were, and so they just marked it. We had them on a clipboard. They marked it. They folded it up, stuck it inside the box, and that was it. So it wasn't like a verbal and a check mark. We had to pull all the ballots back out, so to speak, and count them and double check them and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so the early returns come in, and then it's kind of a gap typically on when you start seeing the same day election stuff come in. We may know potentially some of the results if Prop 1 comes in way ahead or way behind on the early results, because the early results were so huge. Somebody told me it was a massive amount, a huge percentage of early voting that came in. I don't know what it was, but it was huge, way bigger than normal. So that potentially could be the end of it, depending on what happens on election day. But we've heard across the country that election day, same day registrations and people who are out voting on election day, that the numbers are still really big, despite early voting being massive all over the country. I was kind of surprised to see early voting here and absentee voting so big, because in Idaho, there was a huge push by the Republican Party and the Democrats typically do a lot better on the early voting game. Republicans kind of stepped up their game. So those results are kind of surprising to see how many Republicans early day went early or did absentee. And what nobody knows is the same day election stuff going to be really big still for Republicans, or did all the people who vote on election day already go out and vote? So that kind of remains to be seen on the national scale. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Ended up being a lot shorter. I wasn't sure how long we were going to spend on doing the the exit polling results. Again, go out and vote. By the way, you can stay in line. Even if you're in line, it turns 8 o'clock. They can't come kick you out. You have a right to vote. And as long as you were in line by 8 o'clock local time, and I have to say that because we got 8 o'clock down here or 7 o'clock up north. So whatever your local time is, if you were there in line by 8 o'clock, you have a right to vote. So please stay in line and vote. And if you have any issues, contact your talk to one of the poll workers. You can talk to maybe somebody within your party who can help you ensure that you are able to go out and vote. So anyway, let me real quick one more time just so you guys can see it. That is the results of our exit polling, 207 total, and Trump coming out with 69% to Harris's 26. I think that may be a high, that if I had to guess, but you never know. This election year could be totally insane. Prop 1, 61% against, 25% in favor, and 14% just did not answer it. Again, that could be way off. It could be accurate. We don't know yet. Won't know for a while. And then on the amendment, 53% in favor of the constitutional amendment, 28% against, and 19% left it blank. So anyway, that's all I've got for now, guys. I am excited. I will see you in about 3 hours and 45 minutes. Should be a wild night. I don't know how late we'll be up. I'll probably be streaming from at least 9 till midnight, if I had to guess, somewhere in there. Just kind of depends. If the main issue, I think, is Prop 1 and the constitutional amendment, and so if those are kind of decidedly done by midnight, then I will probably cut my feed midnight Mountain Time. But we'll see. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll be covering the presidential election. We're going to be looking at the ranked choice voting initiative in Alaska as well. That RCV, the ranked choice voting slash the primary changes, are a big issue in multiple states. So it'll be kind of interesting since we're one of those states that is, that has that on the ballot. So anyway, that's all I've got for now.